that constant feeling of being late, most people assume it means that they are underprepared, that something's wrong with them. And I thought that too until I realized that it was a signal, not to add more, but to remove what was overwhelming my brain. Let me show you what to cut so you can finally think clearly again. Okay, so guys, this is something that I learned in the hard way. So I was 15 and I was constantly comparing myself with all these successful content creators who were already like successful, and I was flopping every single time, and now I am still flopping. Even though recently I started to see some results, but the reason why I'm calmer now is because I know all the knowledge that I'm about to tell you in this entire video, so make sure to stay till the end. As I was saying, I felt so behind and as if there was something wrong with me. Maybe I'm underprepared and that I am just unlucky. And as a result of comparing myself to all these successful people who made it, I started to set the bar higher, have higher expectations of myself, and started to do more goals and habits in one single day. And until I realized that I was just overloading my brain more and more by adding all these goals. I had so many priorities and goals that I needed to do throughout the day, and as a consequence I was confusing my brain, and your brain interprets that lack of clarity as if you are falling behind. Until finally I cut these 3 things so I could finally think clearly again. So first thing that you need to cut: every time you see someone who already has your dreams, you start to say, oh my god, like I cannot do it, I cannot make it, because you immediately see the huge gap standing between you and them, and you realize that maybe it's too much work and you're never going to make it. You're constantly comparing yourself. Every time you see a person who already has your dreams, and then you get jealous. And slowly but surely, by doing so, you're going to start doubting yourself, thinking, oh my god, am I going to make it? Like, they already gotten successful. It seems like so easy for them. Like, why am I not there yet? And you're constantly like comparing your own journey with theirs. And that is the issue, because you're not realizing that you're comparing your chapter number 1 with their chapter number 20, which makes no sense. Of course, we are going to receive different results because they have already gained more experience, know more skills, they have done more reps, and they have mastered their skills, which you haven't yet. So I want you to do 2 things. I want you to switch this constant state of jealousy and comparison towards those people into inspiration. Oh, Emmy, but like it's too difficult for me, like I still feel jealous. Okay, first of all, it's so normal, okay? The fact that you feel jealous, it means that you want that desire too. I will constantly compare myself with all these YouTubers with millions of subscribers and say, oh my god, like how did they do it? Like, why can't I have it too? But then I made this switch that changed everything, and I stopped being jealous or compare myself, having this like hyper comparison type of thing towards them, which is by realizing that they also were on chapter number 1, which is where I am at right now too. And the only difference is that they kept going. They are no different from me. Okay, so it means that if they have it, if they were also once in my place and they made it, it means that I can do. Like, we are no different from them. And then the second switch I want you to do, finally I turned this sort of comparison trap into inspiration, into motivation to keep going. Every time I see them, I get a boost of inspiration. I say to myself, okay, oh my god, in the future, in 1 year from now, 6 months from now, I'm going to be there. I better need to keep going and keep posting, keep putting in the reps and improving and iterating, and the results are going to show. I'm going to reach my breakthrough sooner or later. And then second switch I want you to do is start following them. Like, the fastest way, like at least for me, that made me start seeing more results and getting more views in my videos was to follow the advices of those who already lived my dream life. Not only about what they did to get to that goal of mine and all this stuff and then like iterate, but also it prevented me to make another mistake that a lot of people make, which is most people want to achieve that big goal, want to become a singer, actor, or content creator or teacher, and they follow the advices of those around them. The problem is that those around them are not living their dream life, which is going to slow them down. Why are you taking the advices of people who don't even understand your dreams, your vision? Like, you're adopting their mindset that got them where they are at right now. And I want you to look at their life and ask yourself, do you want to live their life? Is their life your dream life? If the answer is no, then start taking advices of those who already achieved your dreams. So search on social media, search about your dream, whatever it is, and follow the advices of those people. So as a consequence, if those around you criticize you or don't understand you, underestimate you for choosing this unconventional path or for chasing this big impossible goal, then you're going to be careless, because you're going to think that the future version of you who already has your dreams and all these people who are already living your dream life, they are going to cheer you up in taking that risk or chasing that big impossible goal. And that's how you're going to think clearly on what decision you need to take or what risks you need to take on your big dreams, based on the fact that you now have role models to look up to, and you're not going to get overloaded by just comparing yourself, getting jealous, and stacking even more goals. And then I see a lot of people getting anxious about things that they don't have to worry about, which leads to the second thing that you need to remove. Because I know that you now are getting anxious and say, oh my god, I need to achieve this thing in 6 months and all these things that I put on my vision board by the end of the year. And then you're spiraling on how are you going to be able to achieve all these things. The thing is actually happening is that, again, you are overloading your brain by thinking about all of these future goals. So what I want you to do is to not focus on what sort of goal you need to achieve the next month, and not even about the next week. I want you to focus on the next 24 hours that are in front of you. Okay? Because stay with me, this truly works, because your brain can only focus on one step at a time. And if you give it a next step to act on and not overwhelming and overloading it about the entire year, it's going to bring more clarity to your brain, because otherwise you're going to just make your brain feel off track. But then another thing that can subtly mess with your brain and you can subtly overload it again is to setting the bar too high for yourself. What I mean by this is that this can show up in your daily habits, which is going to overload your brain. What I mean is that this can show up in like your daily habits when you're pursuing a certain goal. And especially since I used to stack a lot of goals in one day, and then like I was also going to school anyway in the afternoon, and I expected myself to finish them all. Like I said to myself, I must finish all of these goals stacked up on each other. I need to do these goals perfectly, show up and finish that goal in that specific minute and hour. I demanded perfection in me. I saw myself as a robot, which, yeah, it didn't happen obviously, because I would burn out and then procrastinate because I would overload my brain. Like my brain would feel so overwhelmed by all these like goals that I needed to do after school, especially because I didn't give myself time to even rest. Not only I said to obviously, give myself more rest, the main point of this tip is to actually stay flexible. What I mean by this is, oh my god, like to all of my dream aligners who have a lot of perfectionism in them, this is going to save you, and it's not going to overload your brain, and it's going to bring more clarity in your daily habits so you can finally get ahead. You know, because most people tend to overload their brain by just doing what I just did in the past. And we're going to do it differently by doing two things: creating routines for our period if you are a girl, or for the days who you get sick, for the days that you need to go to an event or a birthday party. So as a consequence, you don't have a lot of time for your goals. So you just need to like create a routine to do each of these goals. Let's say you do 3 goals. So in those days where you don't have a lot of time to do them for whatever reason, you are going to shorten the amount of time you do them. For example, if you spend 1 hour to do each of those 3 goals in the afternoon, and let's say you need to go to a birthday party, you are going to do each of those goals for 30 minutes or 10 minutes. The important thing is that you show up. You know, this is what it means staying flexible and still being able to show up consistently to your goals, you know, in the long run, instead of having this all or nothing behavior, which a lot of people with perfectionism do. The second approach I want you to do is to just cut some of those goals. I know it sounds scary, but listen, okay? This is something that really helped me personally when it came to my content creation career, but you know, it works for every goal, okay? So you need to follow this thing called the 20-80 rule, where you need to choose the 20% of the actions you need to take in order to achieve that goal that are going to bring the 80% of the results. And you're going to do them in the days where you get sick or whatever it is. Let's say in that day you have to do several goals, and in that day you're just going to focus on the 20% that is going to bring you majority of the results, so you can still show up and stay consistent with your goals and still improve and keep improving, because you're actually doing the 20% of the actions that are going to actually move the needle. And yeah, that's how you stay consistent and don't overload your brain with all this like anxiety, all these feelings of, oh my god, like I didn't do these 3 goals perfectly like I wanted that day. Like no, you're going to still show up even if imperfectly, and you're going to learn how to stay flexible. You're going to finally remove all of this rigid expectation and perfectionism around your goal, which was, again, overloading your brain with all of this frustration and stress. And you're going to feel lighter, and on top of that, you're going to feel proud of yourself because you stayed consistent even in the days where you couldn't, in the days where you didn't have a lot of time to work on your goals. So you all came here to hear the fact that in reality, failing late doesn't mean you failed. It just means that your brain is asking for less, not more. And the moment you listen to that signal, clarity returns. And yeah, here's the habit that's secretly keeping you stuck without you even realizing. And this video is going to explain that. See you there, Dream Aligner!